We're at the Warhope Bicentennial Riverside Sculptural Trail today, and we're going to take a few shots around. This is a pretty important site to the Aboriginal people, the original owners of the land.
The sculpture installation represents the echoes of travellers on the river coming ashore in this place to meet and share their tales, reflect on their journey and look to the future. The stones symbolise upright canoes inspired by Indigenous bark, canoes fused with figurative elements and character, acknowledging the important role Indigenous people have in the land and in society. The canoes pay homage to the adventuring soul that dwells in all of us. Movement means growth in learning, understanding and the development of mind, body and spirit, and while the canoes symbolise survival, travel and enjoyment, it is equally important to find suitable places to rest and to establish a more permanent settlement. Placing the canoes in an upright grouping, they offer shelter and suggest community.
Okay folks, I think we'll just take a walk around and show you the place. Let's have a look. Definitely is beautiful. Wow, it's a fair drop off here. Definitely is beautiful. The sleeping elephant.
Aboriginal legend of Gummal Bitjamba. as told by Aborigines to Surveyor Ralph, 1829, and was presented to the Royal Society of New South Wales in 1890. Many years ago, a small party was encamped in one of the beautiful valleys of the Upper Macleay. The men were away hunting, the camp being in charge of a few women who were attending upon a young mother and her newly born babe. The infant was exposed to the sun upon an opossum cloak when an eagle swooped down and carried the helpless child away to the summit of some neighbouring cliffs. Some of the men were soon returning. At once scaled the precipice, they discovered the remains of the infants and the eagle saturated drinking from a pool of water in the rocks. The remains were collected and buried amidst the great lamentation, especially on the part of the women. The waterhole on the cliff became known by the Gathang people as Gummelbitchen Bar, the place where eagles drink.
So the Indigenous people had a definite connection to this place. Wow, look at the ghost gun. Look at the size of the thing. I'm going to do Wes for scale here. Hang on a second.
The first butter factory of the Hastings River. 1875. Alexander Bain and Donald Cameron purchased Crosslands Estate from John Cross and divided it. Cameron retained Crosslands and Bain purchased more land and named his estate letter U. They raised horses, pigs and poultry, grew maize and had a herd of 200 Durham cattle. 1879, George Lindsay of Huntingdon installed a steam-driven cream separator and farmers came to him to have their milk separated. In the early 1880s, Bain subdivided part of his land for the private village of Wauchope. 1860 to 1872 were years of floods and crops were washed away, so farmers changed to cattle. Cream checks were monthly, crops were annual. Sugar was shredded into fodder as cattle came. 1891, farmers formed the Upper Hastings River Cooperative Dairy Co Limited and borrowed money to build up to-date butter factory. Bain sank a shaft of water on his property above James Wallace's timber mill between today's Cameron, Bain, Young and Hastings streets. Nicholas Kane offered the use of his well for the butter factory, but Duncan Graham found superior water on Danier's land close to Andrew's property, Coleraine. This was used for the factory. James Condren erected the first butter factory on the Hastings River on Mr. Danier's land above Rocks Ferry. It was officially opened at 11 a.m. on the 25th of June 1892, when Mrs. Davidson turned the tap for the first milk flow into the separator. October 1897, the Australian Dairy Company opened the Port Macquarie Butter Factory, purchased the sailing boat Tilbury and converted it into a milk boat. Wauchope Butter Factory was losing suppliers because the farmers were installing their own separators, machinery became outdated and there was no refrigeration. So butter was sold to soap companies and lubricant manufacturers. The Port Macquarie factory closed in August 1901 and the Upper Hastings River Cooperative Dairy Co Limited purchased it and closed the outdated Wauchope factory in 1902. 1916. All cream went to Wauchope pre-owned Port Macquarie Butter Factory by Cream Launch until the new butter factory at Wauchope opened in 1917.
Wow, that's pretty amazing, folks. Yeah, it's certainly a beautiful area, and it's well established quite some time ago, obviously. And it's just I find it fascinating just to look back in the history of the place, as it is with all places really, particularly here in Australia. Thanks for joining us here today at Warhope Bicentennial Aboriginal Sculptural Trail. It's a mouthful, but I got it all in. Thanks heaps, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's filming. We'll catch you next time. Place in this part of the world, in this part of the country, I should say, the Indigenous people had a lot of respect. We have a lot of respect for Indigenous people, and they had a lot of. Let's just scrap that.